Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Christ and TK joining us today from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. There's the number on the screen. Give them a call. Great lunch specials, and the catering I can attest to is spectacular. Today on Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LaBear's Casino, we're going to talk, of course, everything that has to do with Major League Baseball All-Star Game. American League wins for the ninth straight year. A buddy of mine, by the way, Tommy, won tens of thousands of dollars on the American League beating the National League. Big bet last night. And of course, they were down 2-0 for 4 innings. They trailed, and then boom, back-to-back homers. American League wins 3-2. Giancarlo Stanton was the MVP of the game. But anyway, we'll get into that. The SEC Media Days gets interesting. By the way, very interesting as of a few minutes ago, as Ainias Smith, who was scheduled to talk for Texas A&M tomorrow, got arrested. DUI, gun charges, everything like that, got arrested. So got a next man up mentality, right? How embarrassing and terrible is that for A&M with everything that they went through the last few weeks with the Jimbo Saban debacle, the video coming out about them being offered NIL money when you couldn't, and then now one of their representatives, wide receiver Smith, who was going to talk at media days, gets arrested the day before or a couple days before. Also, Major League Baseball draft, at least for the players that LSU had on their roster, good news. If Gervais is to be believed, Paul Gervais during the 10th round said he's going to stay when he didn't get drafted in the top 10 rounds. He gets popped in the 12th round. Will he stay? Will he go? Raiselman got drafted in the 5th round. By the way, Tommy, neither one of those two did I expect LSU to keep for next year. I thought both of them would get drafted and leave. So if you can somehow keep Gervais, that would be unbelievable. But they'll have a little battle in their hands. The other thing is Nose Jobert. Jobert did not get drafted at all. Jobert, who had, 18 homers, 19 homers this year, although the average was down. I thought he might at least get drafted, but he did not. And so that's great news for LSU. So, offensively, everybody that could be back really is back. K. Doty was never going to be back. And then Jordan Thompson's having a nice summer in the Cape. So good things happening for LSU as far as the players that they had currently. Clearly, they've got to deal with some things with their recruits, but we'll get to that as well. And some other news and notes in the world of sports. Where do you want to start, Tommy?
I don't know, Ronnie. I've been all into the SEC media days, listening to the different coaches and whatnot that have went up to that A&M story with that player. I mean, A&M, they just need to permanently say they're going to be 8-4. Okay, just don't. It's never going to be 9. It's never going to be 7. Jimbo Fisher is really be interested when he speaks. Saban threw out an olive branch about that whole Fisher thing. I've been watching a lot of it. I've been listening to all the commentators and the sportscasters talk about all of the teams. It's been pretty cool. It's kind of, I was telling somebody last night, I'm really ready for SEC football this year. I think it's going to be this as wild and crazy as ever.
So, all right, what's your reaction to Brian Kelly on Monday? He led off. LSU was on day one. Biggest takeaway, positive, negative from his talk?
When I got out of Brian Kelly, I watched the whole thing. I think every time I see him do that, I think he's a little smarter than I thought he was. I think he's got this thing under control. He's got his thumb on it. And I think, especially 2023, this year, I think they're going to be good, pretty good. But that next year, when he's had a little more time to put everything in place, I think they're really going to be good. Yeah, but Paul Feinbaum, in a little interview he did with Jordy Culotta, he said, hey, that's one of the top 5 coaches in the country. And now that's Feinbaum, okay? He is who he is, and he thinks that's one of the top 5 coaches in the country. And I respect a lot of the things he says. So, therefore, I've come away more impressed by Brian Kelly after seeing him Monday on the media days. And the way he handled it, the way he said nothing, and the way he did say a few things, I thought it was pretty good.
Nick Saban, everybody was looking forward to Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher kind of yelling and screaming at each other. Obviously, Jimbo hasn't gone yet, but Nick Saban, what was your takeaway from him? And he didn't address the Jimbo thing during the press conference. He wasn't asked about it, but he was later in the day during interviews. You said he reached out to Jimbo with an olive branch.
He kind of walked back his comments a little bit. He said he had no problem with Jimbo Fisher and that Jimbo was a great coach and does a great job at A&M and he did a great job when he worked with Nick. He kind of threw that all out there, and he kind of said that a lot of times he listens to what other people say to make himself better. Nobody's perfect, and he kind of said that in a way he was saying, I learned from the mistake I made about the comment when he directed at A&M and directed it at Deion Sanders. So he kind of, I don't know if walked it back's the right word. He addressed it and he smoothed it over so that it didn't become the big story.
Going back to Brian Kelly for a minute, I thought it was disrespectful what the SEC did. SEC.
Oh, that was pitiful.
When he was up on stage for them to put like lower third graphics up, kind of making fun of him or mocking him a little bit, which, look, it's one thing if you want to, like in a sit-down interview or on a panel with talking heads to kind of, you got to fill time and you want to talk about it, laugh about it. That's fine. That's appropriate in that situation. But a media day where it's supposed to be about facts and, it's more business related. To me, that's not the spot to make fun of one of your own. I mean, the SEC network, this is your people. You want to put them in the best light, not the worst light. And clearly, like when the whole Brian Kelly thing, when he tried to talk with the country accent at half court the day he got introduced at the basketball game and a couple other things, those were embarrassing moments I'm sure he'd like to have back. And so for the during SEC media days when he's on the podium, to me, that's not the point in time to reference any of that.
That's one of the more classless things the SEC network has ever done. They put the graphic up that said Southern accent expert. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody got fired over that. That's how low that was. And in the SEC, it just means more. Well, you screwed that up big time, huge mistake, and it took a shot at Brian Kelly that you didn't have to take at that point in time. Okay, and I mean, I was stunned by the fact that the SEC network would allow that. And I would not be surprised to know somebody got fired over that.
One of the things that Brian Kelly said, and whether it's true or whether it's, just painting the program in the best light, doesn't really matter because as long as he paints the program in the best light. But he did say when talking about is LSU behind in NIL, is LSU behind in program in that way, with between the A&Ms and the LSU and the Alabamas, or is LSU running behind with the offers to the elite players? And he said, no one has given me any documentation that we're behind. I feel comfortable that we are as competitive as anyone else. I don't feel like we're being outbid. I don't think that's the point anyway. I don't feel hamstrung. That was Brian Kelly on NIL. And so, that's good news. He also went on to say, he also said, this is funny. He said, maybe I should have been in the South all along when talking about, he said, I've had success at Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Central Michigan, wherever I've been. So running a program and then player development, he says, I think those are the two most important things. I don't think that needs to be a geographical in a sense. I've gotten to love where I'm at in Baton Rouge. I love the people. They love football. They love family. They love food. That fits me really well. I guess I should have been in the South all along. So that's pretty cool.
He also said he loves crawfish etouffee and char-grilled oysters, which are two very popular items.
Right.
But Brian Kelly, I mean, he's not goofy like Les Miles, but he's got goofy moments, okay? And I think he's got a decent sense of humor. But I think he's very, very smart. I think he's got this thing where he wants it. And he's got it in the direction he wants it to go. He don't have it where he wants it, but he's got it in the direction that he wants to go. But Saban comes out and says Alabama players made over $3 million in the NIL last year. It was an estimate. And then, of course, Texas Tech has announced that every football player gets 25 grand. All 85 guys on scholarship plus 15 walk-ons each get 25 grand with some collective thing. They got some big oil tycoon over there in Texas who's taking care of some Red Raider players, So I mean that goes back to that whole thing about what if one guy's getting more than the other. I mean, the third string long snapper is going to get 25 grand. So
I'll tell you what, if I'm a walk-on football player, that's where I want to go, Texas Tech, right? Because not only, I bet you they're going to get really good walk-on football players now that they're giving out 25 grand, guys that can actually really push some of those scholarship players for playing time. That is impressive. You got to pay me 25 grand to live in Lubbock, I can assure you. I thought this was interesting, and it was very succinct and clear when it came to what Brian Kelly said he's looking for his starting quarterback against Florida State. He said 3 attributes. Number 1, they got to take care of the football. Number 2, they have to get the ball to playmakers. He says he's already got playmakers on offense that are on the field. They've got to get the ball to those people's hands. Number 3, they've got to make plays. I think all of these guys can do that. We'll have them put in the position so they can evaluate that. So I agree. It's in sports a lot of the time, I would say winning, Tommy, I don't know, it doesn't even matter the sport. 80% of the time, the team that turns the ball over the least is going to win. The baseball team who makes the least amount of errors, the football team who wins the turnover battle. That's probably the most important stat that really gets talked about the least, right? We talk about yards or points or touchdowns or batting average and all these other things. But just look over there on that scoreboard in the errors column, or look down the stat sheet in the turnovers column. The team that takes care of the basketball, the football, the baseball, they win, I think, 3/4 of the time at least. Just with
look, Ronnie, I go back to this. I interacted with Bobby Knight a lot about 20-something years ago, and I went in the Indiana basketball locker room. Okay. And like when you walk out, how everybody's they hit the top of the door and they say it. But Bobby Knight's quote on top of the door when you left the locker room said, "The team that makes the fewest mistakes wins." Okay, that was, in other words, he said we're all going to make mistakes, but the team that makes the fewest win. And of course, his record speaks for itself. But that just kind of says what you just said. That if you take care of the football or the baseball or the basketball, you got a better chance to win, no doubt.
So last night I didn't get a chance to watch the Major League Baseball All-Star Game as closely as I would have liked to, because we had our Meet the Rougarou Surfs Up celebrity bowling event over at Red Stick Social. And special thanks to Red Stick Social and all our great sponsors, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, Relief Windows, and many, many others that have been supporting us all year long. We had a fun event, and of course, by the way, 2 more weeks of baseball between now and August 2nd. We'll have our home playoff game August 2nd, but we got a number of games in between, including tonight, tomorrow, and Friday. 7 o'clock starts out at Goldsby Field. Go to brrougarou.com to check that out. A lot of fun for the family. And remember, we have the only refrigerated, air-conditioned viewing box in all of the country, so come check that out. Don't tell me it's too hot, because you can get in there and cool off. But last night in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, I thought they hit a home run, but they hit 3 of them, pun intended, in Dodger Stadium. Beautiful weather, great environment. The home run derby was a classic on Monday night. It was great seeing Albert Pujols win a round in advance in his final All-Star game. But American League won again. But the coolest thing about it, and I saw a lot of this after, was they mic'd up a number of the players, including the pitchers, and had conversations with the guys while the game was going on. Not only was, like pitchers, which we've seen position players, but this is the first time that I can remember we've seen a pitcher mic'd up, having a conversation, talking about what he's going to throw, what he's going to do. I mean, and some back and forth. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, and I think that most fans are going to really like that. I mean, they started that Sunday night mic'd up thing, and then whatever player they mic'd up had to say who was getting the mic the next week. They were kind of like passing the baton, if you will. But anything that Major League Baseball could do in that category to show that it's real, I think is a good thing. I mean, I hope they keep doing things like that. We've seen it right in the last decade when they start talking to managers during the games, players during the games. I mean, they do it in Omaha with the College World Series and all. So I just think that's an added thing that I think further gives the fans more reason to like it.
A couple things at the beginning of the game. Otani led off the game, and he said "first pitch, first swing" on the video board. He announced at the game on the video board that he was going to swing at the first pitch. He did, got a base hit, and then Kershaw promptly picked him off at first base. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty neat that Clayton Kershaw, of course, got to be the one that pitched in the All-Star game, had a clean first inning. But I tell you, Tommy, Major League Baseball in the United States of America, we know the growth of the Latin player just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We know that it's now a world sport. It's a world draft even now. But the younger player that continues to be the battle. I feel like we've talked about this since probably the 80s, Tommy, that for the last 3 decades for sure, we've talked about how basketball and football in the United States of America for a certain type of athlete, baseball's not the priority because, one, you got to get through all these different levels of the minor leagues before you can get to your money. I mean, yeah, you can get drafted, but I mean, if you don't get drafted in the first 5 rounds, we're not talking about, or the first really 3 rounds, we're not talking about life-changing money. Basketball and football have life-changing money. But I think that the whole situation with the MLB, if they can make it more cool and hip and fun, and it hits that new population of what they expect from sports, I think it's necessarily a good thing. And I mean, look at the Savannah Bananas when they don't play their summer college baseball games. They play in the Coastal Collegiate League during June and July. But before June and after July, they have a travel team, like almost like a Harlem Globetrotters type team, and they do a 2-hour clock. I'm not saying Major League Baseball is going to go to a 2-hour clock or time limit anytime in the near future, but that's the mentality of the sports fan, and the Savannah Bananas get it. But I love the idea of all these new things, letting these players show their personalities, letting them be mic'd up. It makes the game a lot more fun for generations that are much younger than you and I.
I agree with that. Anything they can do to make it fun, they got to start marketing to the younger people. I mean, they're going to get the old crew like me and you and many, many others are going to watch baseball whenever we can, but they really need to guide it to the young people who will become fans for long periods of time.
LSU baseball, Tommy. Raiselman going in the 5th round, Gervais in the 12th round. Are you surprised Gervais didn't go earlier?
Yeah, I am. I mean, big, tall, lanky guy.
6'10",
the ball runs a lot. I mean, the movement on the ball is his biggest plus. So I'm a little surprised he didn't go quicker than that. I mean, the velo might not be what they want, but that movement's unbelievable. I mean, the great quote in the world by Greg Maddux is, "Yeah, I could have threw the ball harder, but I preferred to focus on location." Okay, location, and movement. And Gervais has a lot of that. And I would think if he comes back to LSU, he's got a great chance to improve his stock and go higher in the 12th round in the 2023 draft.
All right. Well, we will be. By the way, speaking of LSU, the Rougarou have a couple former LSU players: Brennan Holt, Trip Haddad. Trip Haddad was with the team in the fall and right up until the spring. He had a couple homers last fall, and then Brennan Holt, of course, from Parkview, now going to Oklahoma State. We'll see if we can't get old Joe Bear to come swing the bat for us the next couple of weeks.
You got to get on the phone, sir.
I've already reached out. Trust me. Joe Bear went undrafted, and look, not a bad idea for him to get a few at bats the last couple of weeks. So you see him out there. Tell him he needs to come play with the Rougarou in the next couple of weeks. Get some ABs. Rougarou on fire, by the way. Won 3 in a row. Jaden Brasso picked up pitcher of the week. He's a young man who pitched at Nunez Community College down in New Orleans. Now he's going to Southern University. He's been outstanding all summer. He got pitcher of the week. So congratulations to him.
And 3 home games tonight, tomorrow night, Friday night, 7 o'clock. Pete Goolsby Field. Lots of fun for the kids. We're enjoying seeing a lot of travel ball teams out there, recreation league teams. The kids have a blast. The parents have fun on the party deck and the daiquiri trailer. And really need to get out to the Rougarou. We said a couple of weeks ago there were a bunch of home games coming up. Well, that number's getting a little smaller, but the next 3 nights you need to go see the Rougarou. Watch the stream at TexasCollegiateLeague.com. It's a wood bat league. I mean, I've really enjoyed all the announcing I've done and seeing all the people out at the Rougarou game. But we need to see more people out there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, fireworks is Friday night too. Remember, after the game, fireworks is Friday. All right. For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll be back on Friday morning for more Sports Shorts daily from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. What's the special today, TK?
Today, the lunch special is lasagna. You come check it out. Keep in mind, they can do on-site catering. They can come to your office, your house, your party, small group, big group. It doesn't matter. They've done, 6 people. They've done 600 people. So they can do it at Tremonti's. And they're putting together all the tailgating and home gating packages for the fall, high school, college, pro football. They're going to have all that stuff being released soon. A couple of other special events coming up in August. Big meat sale. That's always a popular thing. We're about to put the final date on that in August for you can load up for the fall. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. Go to Tremonti's.com or connect on Facebook and Instagram.
By the way, I did the meat sale last year, loaded up on a year's supply of bacon. It lasted about 5 months, but I'll be doing it again this year. Looking forward to it. All right. For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll see you Friday, everybody. Please like and share this video. Thank you.